Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Build-A-Figure Jubilee from the Marvel Legends Infinite series. Over the course of 5 videos, Spot's been having a look at the 5 figures that come to us from the Jubilee series of Marvel Legends, and during that time, 4 figures out of the 5 allowed us to build this figure right here. So now we're going to be having a look at the Build-A-Figure Jubilee. She does come with a couple of energy projectile weapons. I don't know, it's really not so much a weapon, but they're not bad. One of them really is geared towards more so the fist, so you just put that on her fist hand like so and bend her hand. The other one kind of just wraps around the hand. They're all both rubbery pieces of plastic. Looking at them, they kind of remind me of cotton candy, but you can get something that looks like that. Probably Spots could have done a little bit better job on that, but you guys get the idea. The one problem I have with this figure, well, I shouldn't say one. The biggest problem is the fact that she was the Build-A-Figure of this series. They could have easily given us something else, but instead we get this really small figure of something that could have been packaged on her own, or could have been packaged in a 2-pack. I don't know. Some would also use the argument, well, Spot, really, for a figure this size, we wouldn't want to pay $20+ $18 to $20 for this figure on her own, that at least building her, you're only getting her as add-on pieces to existing figures that are already $18 to $20. Okay, I understand that. I just feel like she's really a small figure. Perhaps if that is the only way that we get figures like this, you know, Hit Monkey, Rocket Raccoon, okay, then maybe that might make some sense. The other big problem I had, and you probably have seen it over the course of these videos, is the arms. I think I finally got the arms fully pegged in, but I had to really force them in there to get these arms to sit in their sockets. The problem is that they're such small pegs that you have to push them in, and probably, as you guys have seen, there's that little kind of ledge on the peg that you have to get it past that point into the socket where the arm will actually stay. I think, so far so good, I've got it in there. Her face is pretty good. For a Jubilee, I do like it. I kind of miss old Jubilee from like the 90s cartoon. I kind of like miss the way she's dressed, but at least the things such as her glasses carry over. The face is nice flesh color that they used for it. I also like the darker purple that they used for her lips. Those are all nice, but the problem also is that she is just so one color. She's all black, and really, if you were to leave this jacket off, which you really can't now that I look at it because you've got the jacket arms, you really take the jacket off, there's just nothing to her other than black plastic. Not black painted plastic, but black cast plastic. And I'm sure there is a syndrome for this, but I really am kind of getting slightly tired by constantly used black plastic on Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. It's just, I know, yes, figures have black in their costumes. Jubilee has black in her costume, but I don't know, just it gets so boring after a while looking at same black plastic being used over and over and over and over again. I feel like even if this is her costume, sure, but I feel like something should have just broken this up a little bit. It's just too much black. She is also very, very, very small. In fact, let's reach off camera. Let's bring in another one that's got all black plastic. Let's bring in Scott Summers as Cyclops. She's a little bit smaller, which would be perfect. If she was the same height, it would make no sense whatsoever. She's also a much smaller build as well than Cyclops. For her articulation, this is one part that I was going to be worried about. Her head is on a ball hinge joint. Shoulders are on a ball hinge joint as well. And luckily they are actually staying in their sockets. She does have a ball hinge joint in the forearm, which allows the arm to rotate and bend at the elbow. Equally, she has a rotation in the hand, which looks like, yep, she does also have a hinge in the hand, though you can't really move it too well because the sleeve obstructs a lot of it. She has an upper ball joint torso, really limited by the fact that she's got the jacket on. In fact, moving it is almost next to impossible. She has no waist swivel. However, her legs do go forward, back as much as, well, as much back as the jacket will allow it. She has a rotation in the thigh, double bend at the knee, a rotation in the calf area, and a hinge pivot in the foot. Is she a great figure? No. Could she have been sold on her own? And Spot's kind of said this on a couple occasions. I guess probably not. Because the same problem that people had with Rocket Raccoon from the Guardians of the Galaxy line probably would be the same problem here too. People would be like, you know, why should I spend $18 to $20 on a figure this small? For that reason, yes, I can see it would warrant having her as a Build-A-Figure piece for other figures. However, before you say down below, I think the problem that Spot has is the fact that they cut costs by giving us a smaller Build-A-Figure piece, smaller Build-A-Figures versus a larger figure. You know, because we could get larger figures, they just decide instead to give us smaller figures, and it's so gray. So gray because, you know, you don't want to pay $20 for this figure like you would, say, Strife or Wolverine or Magneto or Storm, but you also want to get a little more bang for your buck. You also want to think, too, that the payoff is going to be as good, and you're going to get a figure that's rivals or, you know, if not be better and bigger than the figures that you're buying them with. So, for that reason, it's a mixed bag. I think Jubilee's done well. I just kind of wish that they had opted for a larger figure. From a rating perspective, the paint is nice in the face, but there's just really not a lot going on with the rest of her. I think I'm only going to give Jubilee a 7.5. Having said that, as Spot normally does when we have a look at Build-A-Figure pieces, let's have a look at the figures that we had a look at during the course of these videos, and we'll collectively talk about it. I think as much as I like Strife, reaching off camera, I think my favorite figure from this set probably is still Storm. She's a really, really pretty figure, and neither of these figures are going to stand, so that's why I got my hand there. She's a really pretty figure. She's done really well, even though she's all black plastic. I still really like Storm. My next favorite figure, if Storm is actually going to stand, display stands certainly would have been so helpful. The other figure that I really like is Strife. And it's a toss-up between... Storm's got such a pretty face. Strife's just got a whole lot of extra stuff going on. You know what? I'm sorry, Storm. I changed my mind. I'm allowed to do that. I'm a guy. Strife, I think, is my favorite figure from this line. They definitely gave a lot more love to this guy. That even though we only got Jubilee as a Build-A-Figure, Strife at least warrants, I think, the, picking up this set. Strife, there we go. Spot changed his mind. Strife, my favorite figure. Storm, my second favorite. And I would say maybe if I could go roundsies out to a third figure, I probably would go with Magneto. I would only go with Magneto just by the sheer fact that at least it's a different looking figure. We haven't really gotten much in the way of Magneto figures. Even though the head is atrocious, I still think he's probably my favorite third figure. And there he is right there. Wolverine, we've kind of already really gotten before. Scott, I just kind of found a little boring. But those are my top 3 favorite figures from this set. I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed these videos. Spot really enjoys making these for you. Even though Jubilee, a little more of a problematic figure, especially getting those arm sockets in place. I still think she's a great looking figure, and finally we can add her to the ranks of the X-Men team. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the final figure, the Build-A-Figure Jubilee. We were also summarizing together what figures made up this set. Even though Spot's finished having a look at the Marvel Legends, don't kid yourself, Spot's got a lot more videos heading your way, guys. Certainly thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.